Hi guys, this is my presentation on the status of caterpillar fungus in the Himalayan region. I hope you find it interesting. I know that I sure did as I was reading through the article for my presentation. And just to kick things off, I'm going to talk a little bit about what caterpillar fungus is. It is, part caterpillar and also part fungus. There's a parasitic relationship that goes on here where the fungus parasitizes the caterpillar. So initially, the caterpillar of about 50 different moth species that are found within the Himalayan region and the Tibetan Plateau go to the fungus to feed on it. And it starts the process where the fungus starts parasitizing it. Eventually, it's going to attach to it completely and mummifies the caterpillar. So very interesting species. And also I've been finding that the family and close relatives of this fungus are interesting as well. There's many other areas I could look into, or you guys as classmates, as far as there's a tropical one that kind of, zombifies ants. So this is a new interest area for me. But enough about that. I'll go over here the pictures here quickly because I know this is a brief presentation. In picture A there, that is the vegetative growth of the fungus coming up out of the ground. And then in B, that is a harvester of the caterpillar fungus. So they are collected between May and June, very short collection time to get them in the condition that they're in on the left-hand side of the box there in C, which is an immature caterpillar fungus. And that is what is desirable. That's what they want to collect, and are not looking for them when they have matured more into a sporulated form, which is on the right. It is a highly valued resource. It's used in homeopathic medicine, so it's thought to be very helpful in curing cancers and other types of ailments within Asia. The biggest market within Asia is China. And it's often referred to as Himalayan gold. So kind of a little bit of sticker shock here, the way that you're looking at it if you're a buyer or if you're harvesting it. But in 2017, the prices rose to over 140,000 US dollars in Beijing. So that's the reason why it is sought after. You can see there in the picture, there's some local harvesters that go out for the day. They bring a few supplies with them, and they just start searching for these sprouts in the ground that they dig up, and they're a marketable product for them in a very, very rural communities. So there has been a decline in caterpillar fungus in the area, what's been hypothesized anyway by scientists. And this particular group of scientists decided to run a study where they were going to survey a whole bunch of harvesters in the Himalayan region. And they gathered over 816 individuals and asked them open-ended questions. And as you can see in box A there was a very strong response that the harvesters are observing a decrease in the population of caterpillar fungus. And then in box B, they were also asked open-ended questions. And I thought that the responses here were really interesting. The scientists felt that because these people are relying this on as an income source, that they had a very strong vested interest and that they would get pretty good data. So overexploitation, which is basically overharvesting, is what's depicted there in red. And then weather, climate change, competition, habitat degradation. Those are some of the things that they had also stated. So really kind of got a pretty good picture here on what the actual they're not working scientists, but people working in the field and working with the commodity are finding. There was also a number of quantitative measures that they had taken, accessing climate models and GPS technology, and were able to use information that was in literature to kind of find where the locations would be that they should be surveying. And they found that as you can see there in B, that the highest elevations did have the highest productions, but that was also contingent on being within the colder end of the range that they grow in. So those are winter temperatures. And then the blue medium production had more of a stable distribution where it really can be seen over the entire temperature span that the caterpillar fungus grows in, and also across all elevations. And then the lower end here in red shows that it's not doing well at lower elevations overall, but then also is not doing well as the temperatures get to that warmer end of the range. So A is just depicting another way to depict it, where they pulled out a few different elevations and 4 different temperature points, and then graphed for us there what the probability of the production is at those various temperatures. So if you want to take a closer look at that, I'm not going to get into it real detailed because it is meant to be a shorter presentation. And the results of what they had found in the quantitative study, like we just saw, is that distribution and production levels are both dictated by what the winter temperatures are going to be. So where they're found, how much of it there's going to be. And then, as I stated before, the narrow temperature range definitely lowering as the temperatures get to that warmer end of the range. And then I personally thought the permafrost aspect of it was very interesting. Initially, when I had started reading this article, I thought this is a species that's going to be growing, directly on top of it. And there is a very strong correlation. It is a necessity for them to be near permafrost, but they're not actually growing on top of it. So some sort of a soil, which would be something to look more into, some sort of a soil interaction that's probably going on there. And the scientists did note that as permafrost is being lost at the lower elevations, it can't necessarily be assumed that the upper level permafrost layers are going to be making up for the lost species at the lower levels, and that there's ecological conditions with the climate that I guess they feel that are not projectable at this point. They talked about oscillations from melting to freezing and freezing to melting, something that I like to keep an eye on around here, how these oscillations in temperature that are coming along with climate change are affecting our local species. And they're saying that there are a number of issues that could affect production. The one that I wanted to pinpoint out here and just note to you guys, in case you don't, you skim over the article and don't catch this in detail, is that the timing issues between the caterpillar, the fungus, and the vegetative growth could kind of scramble things where it's just not producing in the spring, and likewise probably not going to produce at all for them in that area. The local ecological knowledge surveys that they had done obviously did show that there was a decline in the population of the species based on those responses. And they did this, I guess, by looking at amount time spent out in the field to collect versus how much they were actually getting. So I think what they called it in the article was a net catch. And another aspect of the dynamics within this article, which I thought were really interesting, were the social ones. They did point out that as the species population is declining, there's going to be an income loss there that's going to follow also. So it's kind of a, ecological, economic factor that are both kind of running in tandem. And then let's see here. Oh, and the limiting of the harvesting also, climate models had said that this should be a sustainable species, but over-harvesting of it could bring the species to extinction if there's additional pressures, environmental pressures that are put onto things. So they have shown in the quantitative work that, if things start going towards that -4 line or warmer, it's probably going to reach an extinction. And then also brought about, which I personally liked, that additional money-making opportunities for the residents in the rural areas might be something to consider, as far as, in case something would happen to this particular commodity, where they would have some sort of other financial reliance. So a lot of different things going on in there, and I encourage you guys to read the article in detail. There's also a number of citations that were given at the end, about 65, and I've got some of those picked out for myself that I'm hoping to read out over the summer. So I'm going to post a few questions, and I look forward to the feedback that you guys have on my presentation and any other thoughts that you have on the article. And I'll just show my citations here. That's the article, The Demise of Caterpillar Fungus in the Himalayan Region Due to Climate Change and Overharvesting. And then there was a conservation website that I was able to find a picture of those harvesters in the area to kind of just give it a human touch. Have a great day, guys, and thanks again. Bye.